Plus, brought to you by Ike's Sandwiches, and we just all kind of took a look at the Shohei Ohtani media moment. I would say he spoke with the media, but there were no questions. And the first thing a lot of people thought when this whole thing happened today was, why not just release a statement? Well, I'll tell you why they didn't just release a statement. And that's because Shohei Ohtani is an incredibly likable, handsome guy who represents himself fantastically. I mean, Ohtani is a guy that is being paid $700 million to be the face of Major League Baseball. He is a guy who can command a room with charm and just he's a he's a likable guy. And that's what makes this whole thing just like painful, because it still to me just doesn't add up. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I really do. I want to say that everything he said today is fact, is something that we don't need to worry about anymore. Like Ohtani cleared all that up, but that's not how this works. And again, I don't know how he is anything other than indefinitely suspended while they get the answers to a few of the questions. Two things that really stood out, and they're the two things that I want to get into, and I won't waste much of your time today, and here we go. The first is Ohtani said he only found out about his ex-interpreter's gambling during a team meeting last week. I don't know. I have trouble believing that. I have a little trouble believing that only because Shohei Ohtani is someone who has his friend, his interpreter around him like 24/7, 365. Like they were more than employer-employee relationship. They were truly boys. So in your entire life, do you think that you could accrue a $4.5 million debt and just say nothing about it? That all of your massive gambling habit, because if you're a massive gambler, like you're in your phone, you're constantly craving gambling at all times. And Ohtani never saw anything, no idea, zero chance to think about anything. Like I know that when I transfer anything from one bank account to another, like I get emails and notifications about it, and I'm talking like I'm transferring $100, a couple $100, a couple $1,000. And, there are some times where I've transferred so much money that my bank says you can't do that all at once. So you have to break it up into different parts. And this to me, it's hard to believe that someone who is so close with someone else could just cover up, again, a massive gambling debt that seems to be the epicenter of like everything the guy did that wasn't interpreting for Shohei Ohtani. It's like he's gambling. And Ohtani just was head in the sand, didn't understand any of it, didn't see any of it. I just find that hard to believe. And again, I want to believe the guy. What we now know for sure is Ohtani's position on this. He has come out today and said, beyond the shadow of a doubt, I knew absolutely nothing, and this guy did it all, stealing from me. Again, this flies in the face of the story that was told by Ohtani's interpreter on the behalf of Team Ohtani. So, when he sent Ippei Matsuhara in to do the interview, there was a much different story than what was just told in this press conference today. And that story almost had more detail in it than this one did. Other than that, the other part of this that just doesn't make any sense, and let me find this quote again. It's really hard for me to verbalize how I'm feeling is one of the things he said. And again, he went up there and he did it all in Japanese, and another interpreter did an awful lot of the talking in this press conference. But to me, he's saying, I had no idea. This now is all about forensic accounting. And every single wire that has ever been wired from one bank account to another has a forensic digital fingerprint on it. And there is a way to track everything. And that's now where this entire story lies. And I'll tell you, if Ohtani did do nothing wrong, the forensics should bear that out. It should bear that out. It really should. If he did do something wrong, He is so pot committed to I knew nothing. The minute we can determine that it was him okaying an account one way or the other, okaying a transfer one way or the other, now Otani is the guy not telling the total truth. Um, One question that, again, since he took no questions, wasn't allowed to ask is, hey, is there action in other countries? Because God, there was that Twitter thread from someone who no one can identify who it is, but tried to take apart like $1 million bets being made in Japan in Shohei Otani's hometown that were dealing directly with Otani performances and over and unders. And again, I don't know what to make of that Twitter thread that we've seen from that one guy who has no credibility at all and can't be used as a source unless he identifies himself, not just some Twitter handle. It just doesn't make sense. Again, I don't know about the pressures of having a $4.5 million gambling debt. I don't know about the pressures of being the face of Major League Baseball and being a $700 million man. I don't know the pressures of having an entire country riding, ebbing, flowing with every single one of your accomplishments. But I have friends, and I have close friends, and I know what my close friends' problems are. That's why they're close friends. That's what makes you close friends. You're not just discussing puppies and rainbows. You talk about the hard times, what worries you, what keeps you up at night. And to me, a guy who had so little discipline that he got into $4.5 million of gambling debt, to me, wouldn't also have the same discipline to just remain completely silent on the issue at all times. It's odd. It's really odd. And I don't think today answered any more questions than it added to the list of questions. But at least we now have a public position. And that public position is Ohtani saying he was stolen from. He knows nothing. This can all be taken apart with some forensic accounting. And the smartest, brightest people in that world need to be working on this. And again, until there's a conclusion, I don't see how Shohei Ohtani can play, but I don't think Major League Baseball has the stones to do that. I really don't. Just wanted to come on, give you a little bit of an update of a press conference that, again, Ohtani played well in the press conference. He looked the part of innocent and shocked, and he's delightful. He's absolutely charming. There's a reason why we love this guy, and it's not just for baseball. I mean, it's the stuff that he does around baseball, but how he does it and how he comports himself. And he comported himself very, very well in this press conference today, but by not taking any questions, there are still now, I think, more unanswered questions than there were things answered today, but we got a position. And I hope that everything that is about to come out shows that Shohei Ohtani really is one of the all-time easiest dudes in the world to steal from huge sums of money from a close friend, and he really knew nothing. I hope that's where this goes. I don't want him to be frickin' Shoeless Joe Jackson. I don't want him to be the next face of bad gambling. And it seems like, oh, by the way, the NBA might have a new face of gambling. And the Toronto Raptors laying off prop bets on himself and checking himself out of games, saying, I'm hurt tonight, coach, or my tummy feels bad. And he took the over on all of his props. So that's a developing story. Again, gambling in sports being as prolific as it is like an invitation and a map directly to Pandora's box. And it feels like it pops open a little bit more by the day. It really does. So thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel, Damon Bruce Plus. It's my birthday, so it would actually be a nice little birthday gift. We've been on YouTube for a full year now. So thank you very much for liking and subscribing. And interesting stuff coming out of Los Angeles. The Dodgers, they're never boring. We'll give them that.